how to mess things up on your mill and how to fix them. So the chip ways got caught on the the chip guards got caught on the way in back there and got all bent to shit. So here we're taking it apart. I'm going to get rid of the well, I've got to voice over this because I had my finger on the microphone when I did this. So we added that piece to keep this from happening again, but now we're needing to straighten out all those pieces that got bent in back, the chip covers. So let's see. So I'd watched a video by H&K Machine Rebuilding, so this will show how we disassemble it and get those pieces out, straighten them out, and then reassemble it. So I'm yakking about something there, but I'm voice overing it because the audio was really horrible on all of this. So to start with, we slide the table all the way to the right because we're going to go in from the left side to get at some screws, which turned out not really to be needed because we're not removing the nuts off the ball screw or off the lead screw. We end up actually just unscrewing the screw out of the nut. So it'd be better if we had sat a sawhorse under that end, to support that lead screw when we're doing it. That's how we put it back in. So there it's just hanging out in the air. So if you had a sawhorse there to set that on, that would have been a little better. So you just unscrew the screw. We'll get there in a second. Well, we take off the left end, it has the thrust bearings in it. And then we'll unscrew the screw and set it aside for now. The nuts were actually held in by Allen wrenches, so couldn't just push them out like on the Bridgeport. This is a Grizzly 9x49. I tried taking out the adjusting screws there and just pushing it out like on the Bridgeport, but that didn't work on my model. So I just unscrewed the lead screw right out of the nuts. So let's see what's happening next here. So now I pulled the table off to the right quite a ways and supported it with a sawhorse and then let the knee down on it to take some of that weight. I only needed to go a little past halfway so I can get that cross nut out. And it's got 4 Allen heads on it, and it has 2 taper pins that are threaded so you can pull them out. I'll show making a little tool to help pull those taper pins out here in a second. And when we go to take that cross nut out, we lift it up a little and we'll turn it 90 degrees to get it up out of the recess it's in. Those are the bent plates back there that had got caught up on the ways. So let's see what we're up to here. Yeah, most of the audio was horrible in this, so. And it turned out my oiler for that X cross slide screw was plugged up and never working for I don't know how many years. I've had the mill for 14 years, so I took that out and blew it out. Now that works, and I checked all the other oilers while we had it apart, and we cleaned everything, lubed things while we had it apart. So there I just unscrewed the Y nut out of that cross slide. And now I'm going to take that out, take the 4 screws and try to get those taper pins out. they turned out to be taper pins. I thought they were just straight pins. But so on the lathe, I'm just cutting a chunk of 1/2-inch tube to go around those taper pins, and then some couple large area washers under the head of the Allen screw to use to pull those taper pins out. So we're going to part that off on the lathe. So that's the little tube that'll go around the taper pin and allow the screw to go down in the center of it and pull the taper pin out there pretty tight. I was afraid I was going to break the Allen screw, but it didn't. That would have added a lot of not fun, but we got it out. You can kind of see the taper on them there. And I sat them aside and kept track of which one went in which hole, so in case they were a little different. So there you can see how I had to lift it, turn it 90 degrees to get it out of that rectangle slot. And I thought at this point that I'd just be able to slide those bent aluminum way covers out of the way, but that didn't happen because there's actually a pin jammed up that goes up in that saddle that hits that opening in the way cover, keeps it from sliding. There's that pin. And then I got out the C-snake to see if it had a slotted head, if it unscrewed or if it was just driven in there. And it was just driven in there, and there's no matching hole on the casting there to knock it out. So I had to take a drill and drill a hole and then take a punch, and it tapped out real easy. One hit with a small ball peen hammer and a punch, and it popped right out. So that was the worst part of the whole job, was finding that not able to come out. So I used a little square and drew a line so I knew where I needed to drill the hole. And once that popped out, I could slide all the weight covers out, and then I took a dead blow hammer and worked them over and straightened them out as best I could and got them flat again, and filed off some damage that was on them from hitting the upstop on the table that Allen had screwed in the back of the column, which I think the whole point of the problem is that Allen head screw is actually smaller than it needs to be, the head of it. I think I need to add a bushing on there, and that would prevent the knee from going up so high and those getting caught on top of that way. But I added that cross piece, so it's still not going to be able to get jammed up again. So neighbor dogs are playing, as you can hear. Let's see, I pushed the table back to the center again so I could shove it back and get in there and clean. I wanted to clean all the crap out of the edges there. While we're here, we're going to give it a good cleaning and lube things up. So now we're doing our cleaning, and we're going to start putting everything back together here pretty soon. I was cleaning those actual ways on that cross table. Just, it's 14 years old. They're a little wear. I don't use this a lot, but we got it apart, so we're going to clean it and lube it. And then I clean the bottom of the table where the matching ways go, and then I shove it to the other side and do the same thing again. I got that oiler tube working, took it off and blew that one out that was plugged up. I was kind of sad that it hadn't been working. I didn't know that. But now we have the working lube. There's the plates that are straightened out. They're not perfect, but they function as they did beforehand. And this had happened to me twice. The first time it got caught and I just noticed I had bent parts back there, but I didn't know what had happened. This time I actually got to catch it in the action and see why it bent. And I was able to solve the issue. I added a stop on the right side that hits the way back there and got rid of the little pin that supposedly keeps it from going too far back, that actually can go up above the way, and it bends itself too on the when you have the knee all the way up and you bring it down. There you can see that little stop on the right side that I made yesterday. And at the top left or at the top right, you can see that little angle aluminum that I added across the back to keep those plates from ever sliding on top of the way again and bending. So now it's pretty much done. I think it's back together. Not sure how much more of the video is left here, but I think that was the end of the video. So it's all back together, tightened up all the gibs and tightened up the nuts for the screws. It's nice and tight like new again. Yeah, that's about it. Was not how I planned my day, but now I know more than I wanted to know about my mill, but maintenance. Thank you. Like and subscribe, please.